Imagine 3 days with no power for countless families and business across Banda Aceh, PD and other districts. That was the difficult reality this week. Now that the lights are finally back on, the conversation is shifting from restoration to restitution. Lawmakers are implying public protestation demanding PLN pay for the disruption. The utility says the grid is stable, but the question remains, will residents see relief for their losses? And how soon? We have the detail on the demand and PLN official response.
Aceh's most significant blackout in recent memory commenced on Monday, September 29, 2025, cascading in waves across the province through Wednesday night. The disruption stemmed from a generation shortfall estimate at around 250 megawatts, which forced extensive load shedding, though PLN maintained priority for critical infrastructure like hospital and public service facilities. After days of uncertainty, PLN officially announced on Thursday, October 2nd, that the electrical system across Aceh had been fully restored to 100% capacity at 12/7 WIB. The company issued a formal apology for the prolonged inconvenience, confirming that field teams would remain on high alert to ensure grid stability. However, as power returned, public and political pressure intensified. The Aceh Provincial Legislature's Commission 3, led by Chairperson Aisyah Ismail, publicly declared that an apology was insufficient. The Commission formally called for PLN to compensate customers for documented financial losses and damaged electronic appliances, arguing that the utility service had fallen drastically below the required national standard. This demand was fueled by widespread reports from affected communities detailing everything from failed weather pumps and collapsed communication network to small business being forced to close early and discard thousands of dollars in spoiled inventory. By mid-Thursday, PLN reiterated its commitment to a transparent review of the incident's causes and timelines to prevent a recurrence and determine appropriate remedies for its customers. The next phase is regulatory, as Indonesia Electricity Service Quality Rules provide a framework for automatic bill reduction when service indicators fall below national targets. Commission 3 agrees Aceh's situation clearly meets the criteria for this protection, while PLN maintained that an official evaluation must first confirm the scope and mechanism for any potential payouts. From Aceh, with analysis from our Medan newsroom, the media Publikasi team has the story for What's Up Today.
In Indonesia, compensation for power outage is a regulated process, not a direct cash payment. Under national ministerial regulation, if official data confirm that service reliability, such as the duration and frequency of blackouts, falls below a set standard, customers are legally entitled to an automatic reduction on a future electricity bill. The Aceh legislature is demanding PLN apply this rule following the recent outage. However, PLN must first conduct a formal investigation to verify the technical data before any adjustment can be concluded and issued in a subsequent billing cycle. The lights are back on, but the pressure is still high. The real test for PLN now is whether its communication on compensation and prevention plans is as clear and swift as its restoration announcement. We continue to track the development and any relief timelines for the people of Aceh. After a week dominated by blackouts, the region power utility is moving to prevent a repeat performance. That's what took officials to the massive Pangkalan Susu power plant today. They were on the ground in Langkat for a top-to-bottom reliability check, sending a clear message to the public. After the scare in Aceh, the focus is now squarely on securing the grid and minimizing any chance of future surprises.
At the sprawling Pangkalan Susu Power Complex in Langkat on Friday, October 3rd, leadership from PLN's North Sumatra Main Distributions Unit, or UID Sumut, led the hands-on field review. The inspection covered every critical stage of the power generation process, from cold handling and logistics at the jetty to the in-trace boiler, turbine operation and real-time coordination in the central control room. Following the audit, the team reported that all generating units were operating under normal conditions, full stock bills were stable and secure, and system monitoring remained at a heightened state as regional electricity demand typically rises heading into the fourth quarter. Media outlets in Medan at the sprawling Pangkalan Susu Power Complex in Langkat on Friday, October 3rd. Leadership from PLN's North Sumatra Main Distribution Unit or UID Sumut led the hands-on field review. The inspection covered every critical stage of the power generation process, from cold handling and logistics at the jetty to the in-trace boiler, turbine operation and real-time coordination in the central control room. Following the audit, the team reported that all generating units were operating under normal conditions, full stock bills were stable and secure, and system monitoring remained at a heightened state as regional electricity demand typically rises heading into the fourth quarter. Media outlets in Medan and Langkat characterized the high-profile visit as a proactive measure with an international push to guarantee steady voltage and frequency, particularly during peak consumption hours. While capacity description of the plant varies slightly by source, its strategic importance is undisputed. Several local reports describe a 4 times 200 MW configurations, consistently referring to the site as a backbone asset for the region. Meanwhile, earlier national business coverage documented the addition of Unit 3 and 4, which came online as 2 times 210 MW units in the 2018 until 2020 period to expand baseload resources from North Sumatra. Regardless of the precise nameplate mathematics, Pangkalan Susu's role is unequivocal. It is one of the largest and most critical baseload anchors feeding the interconnected North Sumatra grid, or Sumatra Bagian Utara. Officials were careful to frame the audit as a presentative action rather than a reactive one, coming just one day after the resolution of a major crisis in Northern Corridor. PLN is signaling that this routine but vital checks, from the courtyard to the dispatcher's console, are central to their strategy for reducing the risk of prolonged interruptions. From Langkat, the media Publikasi news team reports for What's Up Today.
The Pangkalan Susu Complex is baseload power plant, acting as the foundation of the regional electrical grid. Unlike smaller plants used for peak demand, baseload stations provide a massive, constant stream of power 24/7. The failure of a single large unit creates a sudden, immense power deficit that is difficult for the system to replace quickly, risking a grid collapse and triggering widespread blackouts. This inherent vulnerability is why PLN inspection focus on granting core operational readiness, from fuel supply to equipment health, to ensure the grid's foundational stability. It's the behind-the-scenes work that keeps the lights on. Today's inspection was all about routine checks and maintenance, but after the week we've had, that's exactly the kind of unglamorous, reassuring story everyone needs to hear. It might sound like bureaucratic paperwork, but a new deal between Medan City Hall and PLN could have a real impact on your wallet and your service by changing up their data. The city is aiming to make electricity charge more trackable and public complaints easier to track and resolve. The signing brought top officials together, signaling a renewed push for accountability on one of the most essential public services.
The newly inked agreement between the Medan city government and PLN operates on two parallel tracks. The first component is designed to streamline the collection and remittance of the PBJT, a specific local tax on goods and services, including electricity. Under the pact, this process will be tightly integrated into the city's financial workflows, allowing for faster and more accurate reconciliation of tax revenue. The second track focused on the city's own electricity accounts for public facilities like street lights and government buildings. This will now be managed under stricter reporting protocols, enabling auditors to more easily test financial controls and identify inefficiencies. The signing ceremony was chaired by Mayor Riko Tri Putra Bayu Waas with senior PLN managers Edi Saputra, Hiro Pinkir Pardede, and Ramses Hutajulu representing their respective service units. In remarks distributed via the city's official portal, the mayor emphasized that electricity is a fundamental public need and that professionalism and accountability must be visible and tangible to all citizens. The agreement is also being interpreted as a subtle but firm nudge to PLN to improve its responsiveness, particularly in light of the week's regional reliability concerns. Officials have indicated that improved data sharing should significantly reduce disputes over municipal bills, especially for street lighting, and help the city better schedule and fund energy efficiency projects across its various agencies. While residents should not expect overnight changes, this kind of administrative overhaul focuses on cleaner data, clearer rules, and shared monitoring dashboards is a proven method for producing faster fixes and fewer billing surprises down the line. From Medan, the media Publikasi news team reports for WhatsApp Today.
This agreement enhances financial transparency and surface accountability between Medan and PLN. It creates a direct data sharing system for the PBJT, a local tax on electricity collected by PLN, allowing the city to track this public revenue in real time and improve fiscal oversight. It also establishes a clearer paper trail for municipal power usage, like street light, to reduce billing dispute and enable better energy efficiency planning. For residents, this administrative overhaul is designed to leverage stricter oversight into more reliable, responsive service and a more effective system for resolving public complaints. The paperwork is now signed and official. The rule proof, however, will be in the follow-through. Residents will be looking for fairer billing surfaces, quicker refresh when the power goes out, and a clear sense that someone is accountable. Welcome back. We have two stories from Langkat for you now. First, a coalition of Malay community group is praising the region for a leadership change in his planning and tourism department. And second, a call for urgent action to rejuvenate the regency aging endangered shade trees. Here's the first report. A group of community leaders in Langkat delivered a direct and public message to their urgent today. It's time for a change. They're demanding the removal of 2K department heads, accusing them of failing to follow chalk and laws meant to protect and promote local Malay culture. The region responds was cautious, promising a review instead of immediate action, setting the stage for a political test of wills in the days ahead.
The pressure in Langkat has been steadily building around a single, powerful theme, turning policy into practice. On Thursday, October 2nd, the Forum Melayu Langkat Bersatu gathered at the Regent's office in Stabat, armed with a written set of demands. Their core complement centers on a series on local regulations, specifically Perda 4/2024 and Perbu 34/2024, which they say provide a clear legal backbone for advancing regional culture through dedicated budgets, program, and public outreach. In their assessment, the leadership of two key departments, tourism and Bapeda, have failed to translate these instructions into meaningful fieldwork. The forum's spokesperson identified as state plainly that the current tourism chief have been long in the position for too long without producing visible progress. He argued that the strategic development plans originating from Bapeda have not yet been updated to properly accommodate and culture advancement mandate laid out in 2024 by law. The group also argued the region to give greater attention to the preservation of Malay royal heritage site, which claim authorities at the neglect under the current administrations. In response, Regent Shah Al-Fadin, often known as Ondem, stated that he wouldn't be rushed into making personal changes. Instead, he framed the protest as a valuable opportunity to audit the leadership and performance of these leading sectors. Crucially, he invited Malay representatives to participate directly in the evaluation process so they can see the data and help shape for the next step. From Stabat, this is the media Publikasi news team reporting for What's Up Today.
This conflict centers on cultural engagement by law, which is only effective if the Regional Planning Agency, Bapeda, integrates its goals into the official budget. Without this key step, other departments like tourism and cultural lack the legal and financial authority to fund festivals, preserve heritage sites, or implement cultural programs. Protesters are demanding this bureaucratic logjam be clear with concrete, measurable targets. The region promise of a community monitor evaluation is now under scrutiny. Its credibility hangs on producing swift, tangible results like revised work plans and clear leadership decisions. The bottom line here is simple. The community has made a clear demand, and the official response is to evaluate then act. If that evaluation is transparent and moves quickly, it could build trust. But if it drags on, you can expect the pressure to return of the street of Stabat. It's a danger hiding in plain sight. Old brittle trees lining busy street after another rider was injured by a falling branch in Langkat. A provincial lawmaker is calling for urgent action. He says the time for reactive trimming is over and demanding a full-scale rejuvenation program. But the local government says it's doing what it can with the limited tools it has, raising a tough question: how long until the next accident?
This public safety appeal has led after a particularly hazardous transition from the dry to the wet season in Langkat. On August 28, a large falling tree in Stabat injured 3 people, requiring them to hospitalize and sharply focusing public attention on the dangers of weak tree trunks and heavy, unstable canopies along major commuter routes. The incident was the last in a string of similar cases documented by local media and citizen videos. Each time, the pattern has been tragically familiar: a sudden gust of wind, the crack of a brittle bench, an unlucky rider or pedestrian below. In his statement, DPRD Deputy Speaker Ricky Anthony called for a serious and continuous rejuvenation program, emphasizing that sporadic one-off the trims are no longer sufficient. He framed the risk as a structural problem tied directly to tree age and systemic gaps in maintenance. His warning was backed by a growing pile of public complaints from residents living along densely populated corridors. Responding to the pressure, the acting head of the Langkat Environment Office, Erwin Bakari, acknowledged the problem. He stated that crews are indeed at work but are severely hampered by a critical lack of equipment, admitting that the single lift truck is capable of covering all the regency, sub-district and the required pitch. This admission now puts the next edition squarely on the region's desk. Will the administration rent or purchase additional equipment, and will it prioritize high-risk zones near school, market, and roads with the highest traffic counts? From Stabat, the media Publikasi news team report for What's Up Today.
This issue is framed as a critical matter of public safety, where aging urban trees pose a lethal risk to road users, particularly motorcyclists. The solution is proactive urban forest management, a systematic approach involving regular planning, a long-term plan to replace brittle species, and a public tree inventory. Currently, the primary obstacle is this environment office confessed lack of specialist equipment, such as lift trucks. Therefore, the government's next expected step is the presence on concrete plan for procuring this equipment and to publish a transparent, public schedule for the necessary maintenance work. The measure of success here is simple. Residents need to see crew on the street before the next major storm hits. A public schedule, another track, and a clear checklist can turn this high-risk corridor into much safer commute. We follow the equipment plan and the progress on the ground. Welcome back. We begin this segment with a target narcotic operation in Labuhan Batu. Then we switch our focus to the football pitch, where PSMS is set to host Sriwijaya FC this afternoon. First, the police raid. Acting on tips from concerned citizens, police in Labuhan Batu moved in on what they believe is a hub for local drug dealing. While the raid didn't net any arrests this time, officers say they found plenty of evidence that meth was being used and sold there. The operation sends a clear signal to dealers that they are being watched. But residents say the real test will be sustained police pressures.
The raid on Thursday, October 2nd, showcases a police tactic that is becoming increasingly common across Labuhan Batu, act swiftly on community intelligence, disrupt known hotspots, and methodically build evidence for future target arrests. Led by Ibda Syafrudi Harahap of the Bila Hulu Sector Police, the team moved into the Mualmas area with village heads present as observers. Photo release from the operation show officers dismantling and burning improvised bombs and collecting a digital scale alongside empty plastic sachets, items all consistent with a low-level meth packaging and distribution chain. The head of Bila Hulu Sector, AKP Redi Sunulingga, confirmed the patrols and protect law enforcement's action will continue in the area as a visible deterrent. Recent crime reports for the region confirm this trend, chronicling related action by the same unit, including the arrest of several alleged dealers and seizures of small, gram-level packages of meth. This pattern suggests that the same drug corridors remain active even after disruptions, requiring a sustained and persistent police presence. For residents, police are advising two key actions: continue reporting suspicious activity and vehicle driving at odd hours, and crucially, avoid sharing rumors for upcoming raids on social media, which can easily tip off the targets. For investigators, the measurable next step is to convert the paraphernalia found at scene into actionable leads, potentially through surveillance control buys or forensic analysis where visible. Reporting for Labuhan Batu, the media Publikasi news team for WhatsApp Today.
Raid without immediate arrest are a police tactic focused on disruption, not failure. Street-level drug operations are often mobile and use lookouts, making on-site arrests difficult. The primary goal is to break the dealer operational cycle by seizing essential equipment like scale and packaging. Repeat sweep increase the risk on cost-pull dealers, disrupting the local supply chain. The crucial next step is forensic analysis of the seized paraphernalia. If this evidence can be linked to suspects from recent arrests, police can then secure new arrest warrants based on the findings. No arrests were made this time, but the message has been sent. Police are watching Mualmas. The next marker of real progress, however, will be named suspect and seized narcotic, not just discarded paraphernalia. We'll track any follow-up from the Bila Hulu police. It's match day in Medan, and the momentum feels like it's on PSMS side. After a shaky start of the season, the Ayam Kinantan finally found their winning form last week. Now they have a chance to make it 2 in a row at home against a top Sriwijaya FC. With their star striker fit again and a new captain leading the charge, the goal is simple and clear: score all 3 points.
The stakes for this afternoon's match are clear even this early in the season. Currently sitting mid-table, PSMS has a golden opportunity to climb the standings with back-to-back home victories. Confidence is high within the squad buoyed by a healthy roster and a renewed sense of finishing in front of goal. The coach's optimism centers on his team, fitness and their growing familiarity with the new stadium's playing surface. For Coach Kas Hartadi, the match has a personal element. Having previously coached Sriwijaya, he has called full professionalism for his players, putting any old loyalties aside. Wearing the captain's armband, South Korean defender Kim Jung-ho described the upcoming match as difficult but doable, emphasizing that disciplined teamwork will be the key to unlocking the Laskar Wong Kito's defense. A significant boost for the home side is the return of Argentine forward Felipe Cadenassi, who has been declared fully fit. He is expected to provide a crucial focal point in the attack, hold up play, and draw fouls in dangerous area around the penalty box. From the visitor side, Sriwijaya coach Ahmad Zulkifli stated he brought a 23-man squad to Medan and is not playing on leaving empty-handed. Their explicit aims to secure at least 1 point on the road. Kick-off is scheduled for 15:30 West Indonesia time. From the North Sumatra main stadium, the media Publikasi sport teams reports for What's Up Today.
This match is crucial test of consistency for PSMS, who must prove their recent victory was the start of a trend, not a fluke. With striker Felipe Cadenassi fully fit, expect PSMS to apply early pressure with crosses. Sriwijaya desperation for points may force them to play an open game, leaving them vulnerable to PSMS counter-attack. A key deciding factor will be set-piece execution. PSMS has been inefficient from corners and free kicks, and improving Hill could unlock the game, especially if they can score the first goal. The whistle blows at 3:30 p.m. If PSMS can control the tempo in midfield and provide good service to their striker, 3 points indefinitely within reach. But if Sriwijaya can weather through the storm, we could be in for a very tense finish. Enjoy the match.
We start tonight with a heartbreaking story that began with a job search and ended in tragedy. A young man from Langkat went to Cambodia looking for work. Now, his family is grieving after images of his injuries went viral, followed by news of his death. It's shining a harsh light on the dangerous world of online scam operations that trap so many Indonesians.
A family's search for answers in Langkat, North Sumatra has cast a hard spotlight on the persistent dangers of human trafficking in Southeast Asia. Relatives have identified the victim as 25-year-old Argo Prasetyo. They informed local media that he had recently become vague about his employment in Cambodia after his previous restaurant job reportedly closed. The family's worst fears were realized on September 29 when they received a distressing message containing photos of Argo, his body covered in severe bruises. Just days later, they received the devastating news that he had died. The circumstances surrounding his death have led to strong suspicions that he was recruited into a so-called scam office, a term used to describe fortified criminal compounds across the Mekong sub-region where victims are forced to conduct online fraud. This case aligns with a grim pattern that has become all too familiar to Indonesian authorities. The Indonesian embassy in Phnom Penh has issued repeated warnings about these recruitment schemes, providing statistics that paint a stark picture of the crisis. In the first quarter of 2025 alone, the embassy handled 1,301 cases involving Indonesian nationals, with an overwhelming 85% of them being tied directly to exploitation in online scam operations. The issue had already reached the level of national concern earlier in the year. In April, Indonesian parliamentary leaders publicly demanded stronger safeguards for migrant workers following a notable increase in the number of deaths of Indonesians in Cambodia linked to these criminal rings. The recruitment method is tragically consistent. Traffickers lure young Indonesians through social media with promise of high-paying customer service jobs, often including cash advances and covering travel costs. Once the victims arrive, their passports are confiscated and they are subjected to coercion, isolation, and threats of extreme violence if they fail to meet scamming quotas. As of this broadcast, formal details from Cambodian authorities regarding Argo Prasetyo that have not yet been publicly released, leaving his family to seek both repatriation and justice. From Medan, the media Publikasi news team reports for WhatsApp Today.
Here's the context viewers need to understand. Criminal syndicates in Cambodia and neighboring countries specifically target Indonesian job seekers on social media, offering high salaries and covering travel costs. Once the victims arrive, their passports are often confiscated and they are forced to work in online scam operations under threats of violence. The Indonesian embassy confirms this is now the most common type of case they handle. For families at home, the best defense is prevention. Always verify recruiters' licenses and insist on a very viable employment contract before a loved one travels. This is a tragic loss of a young life and a stark reminder of the dangers of trafficking. We will continue to track the official investigation and the family's effort to repatriate their son's remains. We will also be sharing helpline information on our digital platforms. Name Bajorka is back in the headlines. Police say they've nabbed a 22-year-old man who they claim was behind the infamous hacker alias, at least in a recent case involving a massive bank data leak. The arrest has reignited the long-running mystery of who the real Bajorka is, but police say they have their man for this specific crime.
The Cybercrime Directorate of the Jakarta Metropolitan Police has announced a significant arrest in the case that revives the notorious Bajorka hacker alias. The investigation, which spanned nearly 8 months, began on February 5, 2025, when a private bank filed a formal complaint. The report concerned an account on the social media platform X, which claimed to have successfully breached the bank's servers and exfiltrated the records of 4.9 million customers. Following an extensive cyber forensic probe, police moved in late September to arrest a 22-year-old man, identified by the initials WFT, at his home in Kakas Barat, Minahasa, North Sulawesi. Investigators allege that WFT operated the account to exert pressure on the bank, posting screenshots of the allegedly stolen data in an attempt to extort the institution. A search of his residence resulted in the seizure of multiple phones, a computer, and access credentials to several social media accounts. Authorities state that the suspect has been active on the dark web since at least 2020, where he allegedly attempted to sell various datasets in exchange for cryptocurrency payments. To evade detection, he is said to have cycled through a series of online monikers, including Skywave, Shiny Hunter, Opposite, 6,890, and most recently at Bajorka Nesia. The suspect has now been formally named a defendant and is being charged under multiple articles of Indonesia Electronic Information and Transaction or ITE law, which carries a maximum penalty of 12 years in prison. While authorities are building their case around this specific bank breach and extortion attempt, a debate continues online regarding whether WFT is the original author behind the series of high-profile government data breaches previously attributed to Bejokerka. For now, the police are focused narrowly on the evidence at hand, with the possibility of additional suspects being named. If forensic analysis points to a larger criminal network. From Jakarta, the media Publikasi news team reports for WhatsApp Today.
What's important for the public to understand is the scope of this particular case. The police are focused on a single, specific data breach at one bank and an alleged extortion attempt. This is narrower than the broader mythology that has grown around the Bajorka persona from previous years. In courts, prosecutors will rely on digital forensics like IP traces and device data, while the defense may argue that it's difficult to prove the identity of a user behind a shared online handle. Beyond the intrigue of the alias, this case is about the security of our digital banking system. We will follow the indictment and the trial to learn more about how this alleged breach occurred, so that financial institutions can better protect customer data in the future. Things are getting complicated over at USU, Medan's biggest public university. They were all set to pick their next rector, but the final vote has been put on hold. Why? Because the current rector, who is also the front runner, has been summoned by the KPK as a witness in a completely separate corruption case. Now, everyone is asking what the rules say and what happened next.
The process to select the next rector for the University of North Sumatra or USU for the 2026 until 2031 term has been abruptly paused at its final stage. The University Academy Senate had already completed its voting process, formally selecting its top 3 candidates. The result, as published on the university's official website, show incumbent Professor Murianto Amin securing a commanding lead with 53 votes, followed by Professor Poppy Angelisa Z. Hasibuan with 18 votes and Professor Isventi Sadalia with 16. According to USU's governance rules, the slate of 3 is then presented to the Board of Trustees or MW for the final selection. However, the MW announced on October 2nd that it was postponing that decisive session. The decision came amid intense public scrutiny following the news that the Corruption Eradication Commission or KPK had issued a summons for the incumbent Murianto Amin. He is being called to testify as a witness in an ongoing and unrelated investigation into corruption surrounding a North Sumatra road construction project. The situation is further complicated by the fact that it was not the first summons. KPK leadership informed reporters that Murianto had failed to appear for a previous appointment on August 15, and they have not ruled out using coercive measures to ensure his attendance. Despite the postponement, legal observers and campus stakeholders have emphasized a critical point: being summoned as a witness does not legally invalidate the result of the Senate's vote or disqualify a candidate. In response to the uncertainty, alumni and civil society groups have urged all parties to respect due process and maintain transparency in order to keep the university's academic routine stable and insulate from external political pressures. From Medan, the media Publikasi news team reports for WhatsApp Today.
Let's clarify the process here. A university rector selection has 2 main stages. The Senate narrows the field to 3 candidates, and then the Board of Trustees or MWA picks the winner. A witness summons for a candidate, even the incumbent, is not an automatic disqualifier. The MWA likely postponed the vote to avoid the appearance of politicizing the selection while a legal process is underway. The path forward requires clear communication on a new voting dates and transparency about the rules. The next step is for the Board of Trustees reschedule the final vote. Until then, the Senate's ranking stands. The integrity of the process now rests on clear rules and full cooperation with the legal investigation, not on rumor or outside pressure. Stay with us. After the break, flooding soaks the Medan industrial estate and slows factory loading. Plus, a bizarre viral clip shows a would-be thief in only underpants bolting after a guard dog barks. Welcome back to What's Up Today. We have two stories from right here in Medan that have been making the rounds. Anyone trying to get through Medan's industrial corridor with weekend knows it was slow going. Heavy overnight rain turned roads into rivers, bringing trucks and factory work to a standstill. It's a familiar problem for people in the area, and they're asking when a permanent fix is finally going to arrive.
Medan's critical industrial and logistic corridor was severely disrupted this weekend following sustained heavy rainfall late Friday night. By Saturday morning, a large section of the Medan Industrial Estate or KIM and the adjacent Mabar neighborhood in Medan Delhi were inundated with brown floodwater. The flooding was concentrated in non-low-lying points where eyewitnesses and local media reported that shallow roadside drains and blocked culverts were quickly overwhelmed by the runoff. The economic impact was immediate. Footage from the scene show motorcycles navigating precariously around steel trucks, while some factory entrances were partially inaccessible, forcing operation to a halt. Workers attempting to get to their morning shift faced long detours or were forced to turn back. One truck driver interviewed by a local outlet stated that he had to cut his engine to avoid the risk of hard lock, a type of engine damage caused by water intake. The disruption rippled through the supply chain, causing delays in the arrival of raw materials and dispatch of finished goods, which translates to direct costs for business. Residents in nearby areas also report water entering their yards and shop fronts. Truck levels began to reset by midday as the rain eased. In response, city officials have reiterated that long-term flood control solutions are being planned in coordination with the Balai Besar Wilayah Sungai Sumatera, River Authority, and the management of PT Kawasan Industri Medan. These plans, which were discussed in late September to seek national funding, include major river improvement and a comprehensive drainage overhaul for the industrial cluster. However, for the residents and workers who face this recurring problem after every downpour, the key question remains when these plans will translate into tangible construction on their streets. From Medan, the media Publikasi news team reports for What's Up Today.
This is a pattern that residents of Medan know all too well. When heavy rain falls, the shallow drainage system is quickly overwhelmed, and the low-lying industrial estate is hit hard. This doesn't just affect the factories, it has a ripple effect on suppliers and delivery schedules at the ports. The city's long-term plan involves coordinating local drain cleaning with larger river works. But these projects require significant time and funding. The key milestone to watch for is when heavy masonry actually begins work on the promised channel deepening project. The water has receded for now, but the underlying risk remains. Authorities say the fix is in the pipeline, but residents want to see visible progress. We will continue to track this issue and report on when those major drainage projects finally break ground. Welcome back. We're kicking off our final segment with football. Then we'll finish with a showbiz milestone. It was a great Saturday for football fans in Medan. PSMS Medan was in action at home and they delivered a performance to remember. They started strong, had a brief wobble, but then surged in the second half to seal a fantastic 3-1 win over their rivals, Sriwijaya FC. The stadium was buzzing.
PSMS Medan has secured a crucial 3 points with a decisive 3-1 victory over Sriwijaya FC in their Pegadaian Championship match. The game, held on Saturday afternoon at the North Sumatra main stadium, showed the home side known as Ayam Kinatan take an early lead. In the 21 minute, a foul inside the penalty area led to a spot kick which was confidently converted by sticker Felipe Kanenazi to put PSMS ahead 1-0, scoreline that held until halftime. However, the momentum shifted briefly immediately after the break. Sriwijaya FC came out with renewed purpose and found an equalizer around the 50-minute through Doni, who capitalized on the momentary defensive lapse from the host to make it 1-1. The goal seemed to reawaken PSMS, who responded by tilting the pitch back in their favor and increasing the pressure. The breakthrough came in the 67th minute, reportedly from a powerful header by Rudiana. Just minutes later, another attack sealed the victory, while some match reports credit Rudiana with a second streak around the 70 minutes. Others record the final goal as a Sriwijaya on goal forced by intense pressure. Regardless of the official scorer, the 3-1 result was a fair reflection of PSMS' second half dominance. The win lifted PSMS to 7 points from 4 matches, keeping them in a strong position near the top of the Group 1 table. From Medan, the media Publikasi news team reports for WhatsApp Today.
For the fans, there are 2 key takeaways from this win. First, the team is creating excellent chances from the wide areas of the pitch, which led directly to the late goals. Second, and perhaps more importantly, their mental response after conceding the equalizer was swift and effective. That kind of composure is what separates good teams from great ones. The challenge now is to maintain that level of performance, especially in the opening minutes of the second half, which has been a weak spot in the past. It was a clean result that pushed PSMS on a clear upward trajectory. If they can battle the energy and control they showed in that second half, they will be a formidable opponent for anyone in Group 1 for the rest of the season. We end tonight with some happy news that has been lighting up social media. After a week of celebrating their first anniversary, actor and musician El Rumi picked a storybook setting in the Swiss Alps to pop the question to his girlfriend, actress Shiva Haju. And as you might have guessed from the stunning photos, she said yes.
Actor and musician El Rumi and actress Shiva Haju have officially announced their engagement, capping a celebratory trip to Europe for their first anniversary. The proposal took place on October 2nd in the picturesque Swiss valley of Lauterbrunnen, a location renowned for its dramatic cliffs and cascading waterfalls, providing a stunning backdrop for the occasion. The couple shared the news with the public through a collaborative post on their Instagram accounts on Saturday night Jakarta time. The series of photos and short clips captured the romantic moment, showing Elle dressed in a classic black tuxedo, down on one knee, presenting a ring box to Shiva, who was wearing an elegant, fleur-length white coat. Her expression of joyful shock was a central theme of the post. The shared caption expressed their happiness with a message about saying yes in a dream location and moving forward together. The announcement sparked an immediate and overwhelmingly positive reaction online, with the comments section of their post quickly filling with thousands of congratulatory messages from family, friends, and prominent figures in Indonesia music and film industries. While the engagement has been confirmed, the couple has not yet released any details regarding a potential wedding date or timeline, leaving fans to celebrate the current milestone. From Jakarta, the media Publikasi news team reports for WhatsApp Today.
For fans following the story, there are two quick points to keep in mind. First, in celebrity coverage, a lamaran or proposal like this is often a private moment, distinct from a formal engagement ceremony involving both families. What we have on record is the proposal itself. Second, specific wedding details like dates and venues are usually kept private until an official announcement is made. The most reliable information will come directly from the couple's verified social media accounts. It was a beautiful proposal in a stunning location. We extend our congratulations to the happy couple and will be sure to bring you any confirmed wedding details when the time comes.
You couldn't miss it in downtown Medan this weekend. Lapangan Merdeka was a sea of military green and steel for the TNI 8th birthday bus. But beyond the tanks and the flyover, the top brass had a message that was smooth and clear. Serve the people, float the law, and earn their trust.
The 80th anniversary commemorations for the Indonesian Armed Force culminated in a massive ceremonial parade in Medan, showcasing a joint force of Army, Navy, and Air Force personnel alongside civilian auxiliaries. The official theme, TNI Prima, TNI Rakyat Indonesia Maju, was crafted to drive home a message of unwavering professionalism and deep integration with the Indonesian public. Throughout the proceedings, commanders echoed a directive from the TNI's Commander-in-Chief, forcefully reminding all service members that the power of the state is entrusted to them to protect citizens, not to intimidate or harm them. The sheer scale of the event underscored its significance. A force of 2,506 personnel stood for inspection at Lapangan Merdeka before a hardware parade, known as a defile, showcased 70 different combat vehicles and armored units. The ceremony, presided over by Brigadier General Deki Santoso Patinaya, was attended by the full slate of North Sumatra's governmental and law enforcement leadership, a clear visual symbol of civil-military cohesion. The spectacle, which included martial arts demonstrations and precision drills, was set against a backdrop of intense public scrutiny over institutional discipline. The repeated emphasis on lawful conduct and avoiding actions that hurt the people was an explicit and deliberate message, aimed at reinforcing both internally military culture and rebuilding external public trust. Organizers stressed that the parade was more than a display. It was a renewed pledge of the TNI's commitment to its role in disaster response and civic programs. From Medan, the media Publikasi news team reports for WhatsApp Today.
So why does a parade like this really matter? Beyond the pomp and circumstance, it's a public performance of accountability. When top generals stand up and hammer home the importance of legality respecting civilians, they are putting their institution credibility on the line. It's a promise to the public the hardware show readiness, but the front row presence of elected officials is the key. It's a reminder that in democracy, the military answers to the people. The bottom line is simple: strike without trust is hollow. The spotlight in Medan this weekend was all about reinforcing the standard. The true power comes from protecting the public, not just protecting force. Things got ugly in Perumnas Mandala last night. A strip brawl between two rival youth gangs erupted out of nowhere, with fireworks and firing forcing families to lock their doors and run for cover. Cops rushed in to break it up, and now we're getting a better idea of what lit the fuse.
Chaos erupted in the Perumnas Mandala neighborhood of Medan on Sunday evening as a violent clash broke out between two rival youth organizations. Viral videos shot by terrified residents captured scenes of mayhem with large crowds surging through the streets and the crackle of pyrotechnics echoed through the neighborhood. The brawl brought local traffic to a dead stop and sent families scrambling for safety inside their homes. A heavy police presence quickly swarmed the area, working to separate the factions and establish a perimeter to prevent the violence from spilling over into adjacent blocks. While the investigation is still in its early stages, a potential trigger for the milice has emerged. Follow-up reports indicate that a car belonging to a leader of one of the organizations was allegedly attacked and damaged, and that appears to have been the sparks that ignited a power keg of pre-existing tensions. The incident follows a familiar and troubling pattern in the city, where turf disputes between these groups have periodically boiled over into public violence, forcing law enforcement into a reactive posture. For the residents caught in the middle, the immediate impact was fear and disruption, with local businesses shuttering early and a palpable sense of insecurity. The primary focus for police now is threefold: ensuring the injured receive medical care, gather evidence from the scene and viral videos, and forcing a dialogue with the group's leadership to prevent a retaliatory cycle of violence. From Medan, the Media Publikasi news team reports for WhatsApp Today.
So what happens after the sirens fade? The first thing to watch for in an official tally of the injured, we need to know the human cost. Next, expect police briefing on whether they have enough evidence to process charges. But the real test is whether the leader of these groups can or will get their members to stand down. These flare-ups won't stop until the city gets serious about enforcing clear, zero-tolerance rules for how these organizations operate in public space. People have a right to feel safe in their own neighborhoods. Whether the residents of Mandala get a peaceful night's sleep this week depends entirely on what the police and city leaders do next. A story that is blowing up online tonight has a local school on the defense of father in Sidikalan alleging his 5th grade son was assaulted by a teacher during a simple playground game. He posted the detail online. The story went viral, and now the school and the police will have a serious situation on their hands.
Serious allegations of student abuse have surfaced in Daerah Regency after a parent's social media post gained massive traction online. In the post, the father alleges that his son, a 5th grade student, was physically assaulted by a teacher during a ball game on school property. According to the parent's detailed account, the teacher first reprimanded the boy before allegedly grabbing him by the hair and slapping him across the face. The viral nature of the post has now forced the school into a difficult dual-track process, conducting a swift internal investigation to establish a factual timeline, while simultaneously cooperating with an external police inquiry to determine if the incident meets the legal threshold for criminal assault. This case immediately brings up a checklist of child protection protocols. Investigators will be seeking to identify any other adults who may have witnessed the incident and cross-referencing their testimony. They will also determine if the school nurse logged any visible injuries and if any CCTV footage exists that might have captured the exchange. Standard procedure in such cases dictates that the accused teacher be temporarily removed from all contact with students pending the outcome of the investigation. The local education office is also expected to step in, potentially assigning a mediator to the school and ensuring that counseling services are made available to the student involved and any classmates who may have witnessed the traumatic event. The police investigation itself will have to weigh the evidence to establish intent and the degree of force used, a high bar in the cases involving school discipline. From Sidikalang, Daerah Regency, the Media Publikasi news team reports for WhatsApp Today.
Look, schools have to walk a fine line between maintaining discipline and ensuring every child is safe. When an allegation this serious is made, the absolute first priority is the student's well-being. That has to be followed by an impartial, fact-finding investigation that respects the privacy of the minor. Parents have every right to demand access to the school incident log and to be informed of what concrete steps are being taken to prevent anything similar from happening again. the family wants accountability. The school is obligated to provide clarity and care. The integrity of the investigation now will set the tone for whether this ends in a just resolution or a further breakdown of trust. Sometimes the good guys get a win. In Batubara, a would-be motorcycle thief picked the wrong neighborhood. To hit a few quick calls between neighbors turned a thief report into a full-blown street pursuit, and it ended with the suspect cornered and waiting for the cops.
A high-risk pursuit of a suspected motorcycle thief in the Tanah Tinggi area of Batubara ended with a successful citizens-assisted arrest on Sunday. The incident began when a resident reported their Honda Supra motorcycle stolen. Shortly after, the vehicle was spotted on a nearby road, triggering a spontaneous chase. Several local riders tailed the suspect, eventually managing to corner him and block his escape route moments before police officers arrived on the scene. According to witnesses, community leaders in the crowd played a critical role by urging restraint and actively preventing any vigilante violence, reminding everyone that taking the law into their own hands carries its own legal risk. With the scene secured, the suspect was handed over to law enforcement without incident. The alleged victim was present to provide a formal complaint and present the vehicle's ownership documents. The case now pivots to a formal investigation, where police will verify the motorcycle's chassis and engine numbers, scour the area for any CCTV footage, and build a concrete timeline of the crime. The responsible action of the residents have been praised, as their intervention not only led to the recovery of the stolen property but also ensured that the suspect was delivered into the justice system unharmed, allowing for a proper legal process to unfold. From Tanah Tinggi, Batubara Regency, the media Publikasi news team reports for WhatsApp Today.
Citizen-assisted arrests are a powerful tool, but this case is a textbook example of how to do it right. The resident's job was to locate, track, and contain. Once they had the suspect cornered, they stepped back and let the police do their job, handing a suspect over unharmed, providing clear witness statement, and sharing any video you have is what turned a chaotic street scene into a solid, court-ready case for prosecutors. A stolen bike was recovered, and a suspect is in custody, all because neighbors were watching out for each other. Now it's up to the justice system to handle the rest. If you live in Sungai Kanan, I don't need to tell you how bad the road on Jalan Setia Makmur is. Well, there's good news and bad news. The good news, a repair officially in the works. The bad news, the government says it won't lay a single inch of new asphalt until residents help them solve the real problem first, drainage.
The chronically damaged Jalan Setia Makmur in Sungai Kanan has become a symbol of infrastructure strain in Deli Serdang, impeding emergency vehicles and inflicting daily costs on residents and businesses. Responding to public pressure, Deli Serdang Deputy Regent confirmed this weekend that repairs are in the district's official work plan. However, he laid out a firm and non-negotiable prerequisite. New pavement will only be laid after a proper drainage system is constructed. The official explained this approach as a matter of fiscal responsibility, arguing that any new road surface built without adequate side ditches would be destroyed by seasonal rains within months, wasting public funds. He issued a direct appeal to residents along the road to cooperate by allowing small portions of their property frontage to be used for the installation of these critical drainage channels. He acknowledged the difficulty of this request, but framed it as a necessary community contribution for a long-term solution. The repair timeline will now be dictated by the pace of these land use negotiations, followed by the civil works for the drainage system, and only then will the final road paving begin. This process, he noted, is a shared responsibility between the government and the community it serves. From Sungai, Deli Serdang Regency, the media Publikasi news team reports for WhatsApp Today.
Here's the hard truth about road repair. Asphalt is the easy part, the real work. The part that makes a road last is an unglamorous job of managing water. The government position is that they'll fund the road, but they need the community to provide the space for the district that will protect it. That means a potentially slow process of getting buy-in from every single landowner along the road. Expect to see surveyors and negotiators long before you see any paving crews. The promise for a new route is on the table, but the timeline is now in the hands of the community. How quickly residents and the government can work together on the drainage issue will determine how quickly the bumpy ride finally comes to an end. Coming up, a massive water main break leaves parts of Pematang Siantar, high and dry, and in local politics a familiar face takes the helm of a major party in Medan. Once again, don't go away. Welcome back. We're tracking to final story that hit close to home, covering essential service and the local political scene. It was a rough Sunday for a big part of Pematang Siantar. A massive water main road top, leaving thousands of homes and even a military base without water. The city utility, Tirtauli, has had crews working around the clock and is asking the public for patience as they get the system back online.
A critical rupture in the water transmission pipe has caused a widespread service disruption across large sections of South and West Pematang Siantar. The city-owned utility Perumda Tirtauli confirmed that a main pipe broke on Jalan SKI in the Nauli area. The outage has affected a densely populated corridor, including the neighborhoods of Ricardo Siahaan, Sipinggol-Pinggol, and Timbang Galung, as well as the vital Rindam 1 Bukit Barisan military barracks. The impact of the failure was immediate, with taps running dry and household water reserves quickly being depleted. In a public apology, the utilities director detailed the emergency repair protocol, which involves a multi-steps process. First, crews are dispatched to isolate the rupture section to stop the leak. Second, the damaged pipe is either replaced or sleeved. Third, the lines are flushed to remove any contaminants. And finally, the system is slowly repressurized. This gradual refilling is essential to prevent water hammer shocks, which could trigger new breaks in other parts of the network. The company has been providing regular updates and has advised affected residents to conserve any stored water and keep faucets closed to help the system regain pressure safely and efficiently once the primary repair is complete. From Pematang Siantar, the media Publikasi news team reports for WhatsApp Today.
If you are caught in a water outage like this, there are a few things to keep in mind. First, keep your focus closer. This prevents air from getting into your home plumbing, which can cause puttering and banging when the water comes back on. Second, be patient. Pressure returns unevenly, and if you live on higher ground, you will be the last to get service back. And finally, don't be alarmed if the water is flooded at first. That common after a major repair and should clear up after running the tap for a few minutes. Crew are on site and working to get this fixed. The water should start flowing again in state as they carefully reopen the valves and bring the grid back to life. In the world of Medan politics, the Nasdem party is banking on experience. Afif Abdillah has been officially handed the reins as the party city chairman for another term. He is promising to work with the city government but isn't afraid to be a critical voice when necessary.
The leadership of the Nasdem's Party Medan chapter has been formally established for the 2025 to 2029 term, with Afif Abdillah being reappointed to the position of chairman. The official leadership decree, signed by the party's national headquarters in Jakarta on September 9, was formally delivered to the city board on October 1st. The new leadership team also confirms Rio Adrian Sukma as the party's secretary and Randi Marwan as its treasurer. While the board composition largely represents continuity, it also includes several new figures who have risen through the ranks in recent political cycles. In his public remarks, Afif Abdillah framed his new term as a mandate to both tighten the party's organizational discipline and expand its community outreach efforts. He strategically positioned the party as a constructive partner to the current municipal administration, pledging to support key city programs while explicitly reserving the right to act as a critical check on power. The immediate agenda for the new board includes a series of district-level meetings to synchronize community programs and the implementation of new technology-driven training for party cadres. The overreaching goal, he stated, is to build public trust through tangible work in local neighborhoods and by ensuring transparent communication from the party's members on the city council. From Medan, the media Publikasi news team reports for WhatsApp Today.
In politics, continuity can be a double-edged sword. It can provide stability or it can lead to stagnation. Afif Abdillah is promising a balanced approach of both collaboration and criticism. For residents, the real measure of the party's success won't be in its political maneuvering, but in its result. The best way to track their performance is to watch how they respond to everyday service complaints and how their council members vote on budget issues that directly infect neighborhoods. The appointments are official and the space have been made. Now the real work begins, but in the city council chamber and the street, where political promises have to be turned into action.
The message is blend stop dumping, start managing. Dozens of North Sumatra regions now face a hard deadline to overhaul waste practices. Tonight, we reveal who's on the list and what transformation looks like on the ground. The North Sumatra Environment and Forestry Office confirms that 27 local governments, 21 districts, and 6 cities have received formal administrative warnings from Jakarta over persistent open dumping at final disposal sites. These warnings, issued under national environmental law, mandate a complete shift to sanitary landfill operation by 2026. Unlike open dumps, which leave waste exposed to air and rain, sanitary landfills require engineered line cells, daily soil cover, leachate collection, and methane gas control to minimize pollution and public health risks. Provincial officials specifically cited Sibolga, Tapanuli Tengah, Asahan, Labuhan Batu Utara, and Labuhan Batu Selatan as priority zones needing immediate intervention. While some reports cite 24 regions under sanction, the discrepancy stems from data cut-off dates. Both figures reflect the same urgent national push to eliminate open dumping by 2025 until 2026 per Ministry of Environment directives. The stakes are high. Open dumps contaminate rivers like the Asahan and Wampu, leach toxins into groundwater, attract disease-carrying pests, and emit potent greenhouse gases. Transitioning to sanitary system demands significant investment in land acquisition, engineering, and trained personnel. Yet progress is emerging. At least 3 regions have begun pilot sanitary landfills, and Medan is advancing plans for a waste-to-energy facility at its Terjun site to reduce landfill dependency. Residents should anticipate changes, new waste sorting rules, adjusted collection schedules, and potential fee adjustment as municipalities restructure operations. Local governments must now submit detailed implementation roadmaps and budget proposals aligned with the 2026 target. The Environment Ministry will monitor compliance with potential sanctions, including funding cuts for laggards.
The real test lies in execution. Can land permits be secured? Will budgets hold? And can communities adapt without bearing disproportionate costs? This question will define whether North Sumatra meets its environmental obligation or falls further behind. From Medan, the Media Publikasi News team reporting for WhatsApp Today.
These warnings are more than bureaucratic notices, they are legal precursors to penalties if deadlines slip. Transitioning from open dumping to sanitary landfill isn't just about burying trash differently, it requires acquiring environmentally sustainable land. Constructing line containment cells, installing leach and gas management system, and retraining those crews. Crucially, it also demands public cooperation, household sorting to reduce contamination and lowers long-term costs. The slight variance between 24 and 27 regions isn't contradiction, is timing. Different agencies report at different intervals. What viewers should watch for are tangible signs: phase closure of old dams, new transfer stations, and pilot composting or refuse derived fuel projects. If your neighborhood starts receiving color code binds or community briefings, that's the rollout beginning. The ultimate measure of success won't be paperwork, it will be cleaner rivers, fewer disease outbreaks, and towns that no longer smell of decay. The clock is ticking toward 2026. If your district is on the list, expect a public action plan soon. AI isn't just for tech hubs, it's heading into North Sumatra classrooms. With Google backing, a major teacher upskilling drive is underway. Here's how it will reshape lesson planning, grading, and even vocational training.
North Sumatra Governor Bobi Nasution has formally endorsed Google for Education Gemini Academy initiative, a province-wide program to train up to 20,000 high school and vocational teachers in practical AI skills. During a meeting in Medan, Nasution welcomed Google's local lead, Olivia Basrin, and confirmed SMA Negeri 1 Beringin in Deli Serdang as the first pilot school. The governor aims to expand participation to 60 schools by 2026, supported by hands-on mentoring, certification, and periodic site evaluations. Nationally, this aligns with Indonesia's digital education roadmap, which prioritizes AI integration in teaching workflows. Antara reports that certified modules will cover AI-assisted lesson planning, automated grading rubrics, student feedback generation, and ethical prompt engineering, always positioning teachers as final decision makers. In vocational tracks, training will be tailored to regional industries. AI tools for optimizing palm oil yield analysis, rubber quality prediction, and supply chain logistics are already in development. Implementation hinges on infrastructure. Participating schools must ensure reliable internet, device access, and data privacy safeguards. Google and provincial education officials plan a hybrid model, in-person workshops paired with online micro-courses. Each school will also appoint a digital champion, a tech-savvy teacher tasked with sustaining momentum between sessions. The governor's office framed this as dual purpose, enhancing pedagogy while streamlining administrative tasks like attendance and report cards. The promise is clear: less time on paperwork, more on student engagement, but risks remain. Without equitable device access and bandwidth, the initiative could widen the digital divide between urban and rural schools. Oversight will be critical to ensure AI support not replaces teacher judgment. For students, the ripple effect could be profound. More personalized learning, faster feedback, and exposure to tools used in modern workplaces. If executed well, North Sumatra could become a model for AI-integrated education in emerging economies. From Medan, the Media Publikasi News team reporting for WhatsApp Today.
This isn't about teaching teachers to code, it's about smart augmentation. Modules will emphasize AI safety, bias awareness, and academic integrity. ensuring educators understand both capabilities and limits. In vocational settings, students might use AI to simulate factory workflows or analyze crop health via drone imagery, making learning directly relevant to local economies. The key is teacher in the loop. AI draft a quiz, the teacher refines it for context. Early adopter will likely see reduced burnout from administrative tasks, but success depends on follow-through, ongoing support, not one-off workshops. If your child's school joins, ask how they will measure impact beyond just participation numbers. 20,000 teachers may sound ambitious, but real change starts in one classroom at a time. A death inside a Samosir prison has launched a high-priority investigation. An alleged inmate altercation ended in tragedy, and now forensic will determine whether charges follow.
Police in Samosir Regency have launched a formal investigation into the death of 27-year-old inmate Arni Siregar, a native of Pasaman, West Sumatra, who died following an alleged physical altercation at Lapas Kelas 3, Pangururan on Monday, 6 October 2025. According to officials, Siregar was rushed to RSUD Hadrianus Sinaga in Pangururan but was pronounced dead on arrival. His body was subsequently transferred under police escort to RS Bayangkara Medan for a full forensic autopsy. Prison head Jeremiah Sinuraya confirmed the incident and stated full cooperation with investigators. Initial reports from Waspada describe a dispute between inmates that escalated into violence, though police have not publicly named suspects, referring to the case only by the initial AR during early interviews. Officers have since questioned multiple witnesses and reinforced internal security protocols to prevent further tension within the facility. Autopsy results from RS Bayangkara are expected within 72 hours and will be pivotal to determining whether criminal charges such as assault or negligence are warranted. Simultaneously, authorities are coordinating with Pasaman district officials to notify Siregar's family and arrange repatriation of the remains, with local reports indicating plans for burial in his hometown. Cases like this often spotlight systemic issues, overcrowding, understaffing, and gaps in inmate monitoring. While Samosir's prison holds fewer than 200 inmates, below national overcrowding thresholds, authorities stress that no conclusion will be drawn until forensic and investigative findings are complete. Police have urged the public to refrain from speculation, emphasizing due process. For families of incarcerated individuals, such incidents underscore the fragility of custodial safety. For the justice system, they test accountability mechanism. As Indonesia works to modernize its correctional facilities, transparency in cases like this builds public trust. We will provide updates as soon as autopsy results are released and any disciplinary or legal actions are initiated. From Pangururan, the Media Publikasi News team reporting for WhatsApp Today.
In custodial death investigations, 3 parallel tracks unfold. Medical forensic determines how death occurred, crime scene analysis reconstructs who was involved and where, and an internal prison review examines why safeguards failed. Only when these converge can authorities assign responsibility, whether criminal, administrative, or systemic. Forensic timelines are methodological toxicology, trauma analysis, and tissue examination take days, not hours. If you are following this case, watch for an official joint statement from police and the Ministry of Law and Human Rights that synthesize all 3 stands. Past cases show that when autopsy reveals foul play, charges can escalate that quickly, but if natural causes or pre-existing conditions are found, the focus shifts to internal reform. Either way, public scrutiny is healthy. It uses institutions to answer not just what happened, but How do we prevent it next time? The autopsy holds the key. Once results arrive, accountability, legal or institutional, will follow. We will bring you verified updates the moment they are available. Not every vendor bender needs a courtroom. In Samosir, a traffic incident involving an American tourist ended in mutual agreement, thanks to mediation, translation, and short commitment to calm resolution.
On the evening of 30 September 2025, around 21 past 30 WIB, a minor traffic incident occurred on Jalan Tuk Tuk in Simanindo, Samosir, involving a U.S. citizen identified as CZ and a local motorcyclist BM. Rather than escalate to formal charges, Samosir Police facilitated a meditation session under Indonesia's restorative justice framework for minor offenses. The American visitor filed a report with the traffic unit, and a police-appointed translator ensured clear communication throughout. The core issue, medical expenses totaling 1.5 million rupiah, was resolved through direct dialogue, with both parties signing a legally recognized settlement agreement in the presence of the traffic unit head and Simanindo precinct officers. Local media highlighted this as a model of humanist policing, a strategy increasingly adopted in high tourism zones like Lake Toba. The approach prioritized de-escalation, cultural sensitivity, and swift resolution to maintain visitor confidence and community harmony. Independent outlets confirmed the process was voluntary, transparent, and concluded without coercion. Tourism authorities have long advocated for such protocols in Tuk Tuk, where narrow roads and dense traffic increase collision risk. Mediated outcomes prevent lengthy legal processes for minor harms, reduce police workload, and preserve positive impression of Indonesia as a welcoming destination. Both parties retain the right to pursue formal action if terms are violated, but records show compliance in high in such cases.